Hey everyone, Hovey here, and yesterday an interesting tweet popped up on my timeline, and I thought I'd make a video about it, because I've actually talked about this a little bit on stream before. I think it's a pretty unique background into how I got into Destiny, and I like hearing people's stories about how they got into insert game, or how they got into a certain community, so I figured I'd make a little video about it. I've never really done anything like this on YouTube, so hopefully I don't ramble too much, and yeah, let's jump into it. Like a lot of kids that grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, I had a very important decision to make. Which gaming company do I fanboy for and defend in the console wars? I was a Nintendo fanboy practically out of the womb. My family had an NES and SNES, like literally before I was even born. And I grew up with Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, Metroid, etc., etc. And I really only got new gaming stuff during Christmas and my birthday, which happened to be a week before Christmas. Shout out to Christmas babies, you know my pain. So yeah, December was a big time for young Hovey. A lot of prep went into deciding which games I wanted to play for all of the upcoming new year. With that being said, in 2004, I was super hyped about the latest Nintendo system, which was the Nintendo DS, which looking back at it had some pretty interesting marketing. Anyways, the thing had two screens and one was a touchscreen. And I don't know if people nowadays understand how incredible that was to a 12-year-old in the early 2000s. Like, I really wanted to have that thing that Christmas. Unfortunately, the DS was very hard to get in that first Christmas run. Those suckers were sold everywhere. eBay scalpers were already pretty prominent at that point. And I didn't think I would get it for Christmas. Fortunately for me, Santa came in clutch. And yeah, I actually got it for that Christmas. It ended up being like probably my favorite Christmas present ever. Maybe the GameCube or the Game Boy Color. I got Santa spoiled little Hovey, all right? I got pretty lucky with that stuff. But yeah, shout out to my mom's friend who actually snagged like the last one at Circuit City. Which, speaking of Circuit City, I missed that place. I don't know how many people remember that retail, but that place was awesome. Anyways, back to the story. One of the games that was first announced for the DS was a game called Metroid Prime Hunters, and the launch DS even came with a demo for the game. It was called like First Hunt or something like that, and I loved the Metroid Prime games on the GameCube. To this day, they are still some of my favorite games, so I knew I'd be getting it right away. Now, what was really cool about this game was that it was going to have an online PvP mode. I had never really played any shooters up to this point outside of like GoldenEye. And while I did enjoy that, I was definitely more into stuff like Smash Brothers. But this was a Metroid game, and 14-year-old Hovey was turning into a very competitive person, whether it was sports or video games. I wanted to beat all my friends and siblings. With this game being online, I was pretty determined to be like one of the best. I know that sounds pretty corny for an online DS game, but I was a kid, and online gaming was still a new concept for me, so you keep that in mind. So in preparation for the game coming out, I tried to get involved with communities, and I stumbled upon the GameFAQs or GameFAQs and GameSpot forums, and it was there that I joined a group and made some friends that I planned on playing with when the game came out. Among these people was a guy by the name of Tocom. He was about the same age as me, and we became friends pretty quickly after the game came out. We were both pretty competitive, and we decided to become duo partners. And Metroid Prime Hunters, you could do like 2v2s, and I'm pretty sure we had a winning record against like every team we played. Yeah, it was a small DS player base, but damn it, that meant like the world to me when I was 14. All right, looking back on it, that community had a big impact on me, and it was a very unique group of people. I still talk to a few of those guys nearly 2 decades later. One of the guys that I stayed in contact with is Tocom. He asked me if I would be down to play their games with him, and one of those was Halo, which he was really into competitively already. And I knew about Halo, but like I stated earlier, I was a Nintendo guy, and I hadn't really been exposed to much else. Mainly because I just couldn't afford multiple consoles, but I really wanted to try new shooters because of how much I enjoyed Hunters, and I was pretty good at it, and so I saved up money by doing some neighborhood jobs and whatnot, and near the end of 2006, I bought a 360 with Halo 2. Booted that sucker up, hopped into a party with Tocom, and I immediately got destroyed. Like, looking back at it, probably should have played some campaign or something to learn the controls and whatnot, but no, I just got thrown straight into the fire, like team hardcore, like level 20s, which, you know, isn't like super fucking high, but if someone who's never played the game, I was just getting destroyed. But hell, man, even with that awful start and introduction, I was hooked. I wanted to get better, and after a lot of struggling, I did. Eventually, Halo 3 came along in 2007, and from then until 2011, Halo probably took up about 90% of my gaming time. I got really into the competitive scene and everything. Those were the golden years of shooters for me personally. Then college came along, and along with it came depression, and I barely touched games for the next few years. But even throughout that time, I still stayed in contact with some of those friends from Metroid Prime Hunters. And in 2013, I got a text from Tocom telling me that he had gotten an interview with Bungie, which was honestly such a crazy thing to see. He told me he was being interviewed for their upcoming game Destiny, which I had heard about, but honestly wasn't that interested in because I was so busy with finishing college and I wasn't a huge fan of Halo Reach in comparison to 2 and 3. Nevertheless, I was excited for him because that was a dream job, and he ended up getting it. Shortly after, he asked if I wanted to try out the pre-alpha for Destiny 1, which was a very small test and didn't even have PvP yet. I got to test some really early stuff, and it was really cool, which made me excited to try the PvP when the alpha did come out. Then I got hooked on the alpha PvP and started uploading some clips on YouTube for fun, and the rest is history. So yeah, that's my journey to becoming a Guardian. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but I thought some of those details were important to really grasp how crazy it is that if I hadn't gotten into a Nintendo DS game and met the people I did, then I probably would have never touched Halo or eventually Destiny. It really is crazy how small decisions can have such a big impact on your future. Kind of like the butterfly effect, you know? But yeah, thanks to anyone who made it this far into the video. I'd love to hear some of your all's stories about how you got into Destiny, so feel free to comment about that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again, my friends. Oh, and before I leave, I wanted to show you all this. If you go into your PlayStation game collection, you can kind of see the history of your gaming catalog, and you'll see this icon under Destiny 1 that's like a music player. That's the pre-alpha that I had. It's kind of crazy that that's still there, even on the PlayStation 5. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool bit of, I don't know, trivia, if you will. But yeah, that's all I want to show you, and hope you guys have a good rest of your days. Bye-bye.